major activities are presented in the table below. Okay, so applying the knowledge that you have, you determine the critical path of the project. So then you have to develop a Gantt chart using the early start and early finish activities. Next is develop a resource loading chart. And lastly, the level resources if the resources if the availability of manpower is limited to 10. So these are the activities given and the predecessors, the duration and manpower required. Okay. So let's go to the Excel file there. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is build this AON diagram with the use you use the activities and also the immediate predecessors. Okay. Okay, so for activity A's and B's, it doesn't have a predecessor, so it's directly directly after start. Okay, so you have A and B. Oh, cannot see. Oh my God. Just keep this, I think. Okay, can see, yeah? Okay, so you build this one. You have A and B without an immediate predecessor, so they start first. Then for activity C, it starts after A and also activity D. Okay. Then you have activity E being after B. And then you have activity F after activity C. And then for activity G, it's after D and E. Okay, then lastly, you have H, which is after F and G. And then end of the project. Okay, so any problems with building this chart here? I think you've learned this before, right? For engineering management 1 or 2? 1. Okay, no problem. So this one, which is, okay, this is the template that I usually use, which is the, okay, early start. You have early start here, then you have your duration at the middle, then at the right is the early finish, and at the bottom you have the let's start, then you have a total float, and lastly is the late finish. Okay. So your early start plus your duration equals your early finish. Then for your late finish minus of the duration, it is your late start. And then lastly, you have the late start minus of your early start to get the total float. I think this one, did you learn this one before for the floats? But no? Okay, so I think this shouldn't be a problem for you guys. So let's start with this one. So start of the activities, these are zeros. Okay, so you start with 1 or start with 0. 0. Okay. So this one equals your early start plus the duration. Okay. Then same thing here. This one equals this plus. Okay. So you guys try to build this out and let's double check if the value we get are that you get is the same as mine. You try to do it. This box, you adjust the side here. You make both sides having the same width. Okay, done. 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 So can get the same answer because you got the answer. Okay, so let's briefly go through again the answer. So this one, you just bring over the early finish of the previous activities to be the early start of the next activities, right? So in this case here, where is it? Okay, this one. So let's look into activity G here. Okay, so activity G for the late start, early start, you have two early finish here, right? This one and this one. So you're choosing the one with the longest duration and longest early finish as your early start, because you have to finish off both activities, then you can start with the G, right? So you have to finish off D and E. So the latest duration is 13 days. So you use 13 as your early start for activity G. Is that okay? Understand? Okay, so in this case here, this one, in this case, you look into this one. So you have your, what's that called? Let finish, right? Your let finish you get from C and D, right? But then there's two values. You're taking the shortest duration. So you need to be careful here. One, early for the early start, early finish, you're looking into the longest duration. But for your late start, late finish, you look into the shortest duration. Okay, because if you're going backwards, you're not going forward. So you see whichever have already can be done first, then you get the earlier that. Okay, understand? Okay, not okay. Problem? Ask wait. Get my markers. Since early start is forward, right? We're going forward. So going forward, you have these value, these and these. This one will be your, not this one, sorry. This one will be your focus here. So because early start, early finish, you have to consider in a short term, the longest movement. So for G, you have to finish off your D and your E. So we have a Gantt chart, for example, this is D, then this is E. Then your G only can be start after you have both done, right? So you have a plot here. Okay. Then for this case, A, C, and D, you have your activity A. You're going backwards. Then you have your C and D. So D start. Okay. We're looking into the leg start and leg finish, leg start. So something like this. This one can start at the end. This is start at the fourth. We're looking this direction. So you finish off. You have to finish off both. No, not finish off. The earliest of these two is on the fourth. So it should be like this. Okay. This is the how early you can start with the activity A. No, wrong. How early you can finish off your activity A, then it starts with the activity B. Because activity C can be late. There's a plot here, right? So you can move your C, you can start this late. But this one is the most latest you can go. Okay, can understand? I'm erasing. Yeah. Okay, so this one ALN, then now we find out the critical path. So can give me the critical path? What is the critical path? So critical path, what do we look at? Anyone? What? Yes, look at the total float. So you have to have 0 total float to be in the critical path. So which one have the 0 critical total float? Okay. So obviously these are the critical path. So your critical path is A, B, E, H. Okay? Oh, no problem. Okay, if no problem, we go to the next one, which is on the Gantt chart. So you have this already. So I just write down the values here. So you have your duration, early start, early finish, late start, late finish, and the total float. Okay, so for this one, you can just build it here. Have your activities on the y-axis and the days on the x-axis. So activity A starts from 0 to 4. Then for activity B is 0 to 2. Activity C starts from 4 to 8. D is 4 to 13. E is 2 to 10. E is 13 to 18. Is 18, 19. Okay. So make sure this one box is representing 1 day duration. So you see here the early starts is 0, 4, 4, something like this, right? You see it's 0, but we start on the box number 1. So make sure you minus off 1 when you put it in. Like for example, G is 13 to 18, but actually it starts from 14 to 18. So it's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 days duration. Okay. So you can do it in another way. You can just use this one. Okay. So you can use this method to do your Gantt chart. It's the same thing, but this one just manual work. This one is more, it generates itself, but you need to know what values are you putting in. Okay, so here you can see I'm using durations and your early starts value. You have your early start value in first, then you put in durations, and lastly is the total floats. So for this one, you want to make it as the one here on the left. You can just put this as fill, no fill. Okay, so it's gone. So basically it's the same thing. Then for the float, usually we put in a dotted line. You just edit this. Okay, so basically the same thing. Okay, if you look at this one, we have the total. Oh, okay, I forgot the total float. Okay. Okay, so basically it's the same thing now, both sides. Okay, any problem with this one? No problem, huh? Okay, so let's move on to the next part C, which is the resource loading. So for the resources, if you look at this one, put this down. Okay, so usually I like to do it like this. So in this direction is the numbers of days for your activities, right? Then in the Y direction is the manpower required. So for activity A, which is 4 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, multiplied by 7 manpowers. So here is 7 boxes up. Okay, so for each activities, I have this one color box for each one. Then the next one will be the fun part, where you just put everything according to the Gantt chart. Okay, so we look here. Okay, so for Gantt chart, you see activities A is here. Okay, A is from 1 to 4, right? So you just move this to 1 to 4. Okay. Then you have your activities B, 1 to 2. Okay. Day 1, day 2. Okay, put it here. Okay, here. Okay, can see? Then you have your activity C, which is from 5 to 8. Move it to 5 to 8. D, when is this? 5 to 13. 5 to 13. It's from 5 to 13. E is 3 to 10. 3 to 10. 3 to 10. Then you have F, starts from 9 to 14. 9 to 14. G is 14 to 18. 18 to 18. And then you have your H on 19. Okay. So everything, the duration you have to, the duration you follow the one from the Gantt chart here on the top. Okay. So it's should be the same as this. Then later on, you just do some adjustment here. So it's like playing Tetris, huh? Adjust it a bit, up and down, and that's it. Any question for this one? Any problem? Understand? So if you get this done first before we go in for the resource learning, that will be even more. Okay. Okay, everyone done with this? Wait a bit. Don't just look at me, eh? Yeah. Okay, so for resource leveling, okay, you have your Gantt chart here, just be down. So now for resource leveling, you see in the resource loading here, the question say the maximum manpower is only 10, right? But we exceeded 10 already. So what we want to do is we move around with the dates in the allowable one, which the activities that have the float. We move it around to make sure that all the manpowers is within 10 people only. Okay? So this is the Gantt chart that we have just now, the previous one. So we try to move around here. So what activity here exits? Okay, activity E. So for activity E, we try to move it to the back for a bit. So we like have exits 2 days. So we can try to move it 2 days behind this one here. Okay. Then we put in the resources again. A, B, C is C, then you have your D. Now your E already moved backwards 2 days, so it starts from here. F. H. Okay, so just adjust it for a bit. Okay, so your manpower is maximum 10. Okay. So everything fits within 10 manpowers, right? Now, so this one is for your resource leveling. Okay, the previous one is just loading. You just put in whatever you have. Now you try to adjust it around to make everything level. Okay. So in some cases, we like trying to use a minimum manpower to get the things done, right? So maybe you can adjust it to get a even more lesser manpower. But in our case, it's only 10. Okay, so that's the purpose of resource leveling. We're trying to save money for the project. Okay, so for this resource leveling, there's no fixed answer. Like for example, I can still move it backwards for a bit, right? So this one go to the back. This is also correct. Okay, so whatever you want to move, as long as it's within the 10 manpowers, it's all correct. Okay. So any problem with this one? No. So you see there's a lot of different answers, but it's all the correct answers. Okay. So for your submission, you just copy whatever it's here. Like for example, this one, copy and paste it in the Word file and then convert it to PDF. So submission is in PDF. Okay. So write down whatever statement you have, like for example, the critical path, whatever things you want to mention. Okay. Put it in. Like don't put it just like this huh? What is this? What's the green thing? What's the light green? What is that? What does it mean? You just write it down. Okay. Any questions? Yes. Yes. So the online student have any questions? No question, we dismiss the class. Bye-bye. The class dismissed. Bye.